Hi, I'm Roberto Martinez and you're watching Toffee TV.
Welcome to Toffee TV with me, Ped and Baz. We are in the Winslow, which is all a bit mad at the moment. There's hail outside. There's a bar open. It's mad. It's absolutely mad.
People walking in
People
and out.
walking in and out. If you just hear random noises while we're doing this, it'll be the random people walking in and out of the set, darling, of the set.
Well, simply fixed, isn't it? Sort of studio. Awkward studio.
No,
anyway.
No. Big thanks to everyone at the Winslow for all their help this season. It's been much appreciated. Let's get into it then. Second to last game of the season. West Ham away, a ground we normally do quite well. We billed it last week as the race for top 10 / Fair Play League qualification Mega Bowl. Need some like effects there.
Put some effects in.
1K, get the effects sorted. We need some effects there.
Like lightning.
Yeah.
Mega Bowl.
Yeah, and you know.
Yeah, I just want to put it on record that I never built it as the Mega Bowl.
No, but you never.
That was all you.
But you're not the brains of the operation. The same way you never build the Villa game up as the El Cleverco. You don't have these kind of, again, lightning.
He says brains, I say. Anyway.
I don't know.
Yeah. Carry
Something
on.
else.
Carry on.
You need in this day and age that you need a name for a game. That's
name for a game.
That's
like
the Sky Sports way, isn't it? You know, it's the.
You've ruined football.
There you go. In my day, look,
Jimmy Hill.
Put a flat cap.
Put
a flat cap on this fella. Honest to God, how old would he look? The old grey whistle test here.
Anyway,
second to last game of the season.
That fella, I thought you were talking about him. By the way,
West Ham away, a ground we normally do quite well against. You know, we've played West Ham 3 times this season, undefeated. That penalty competition doesn't count. That's a separate thing. That's a separate thing.
Can you kick a ball in from 12 yards with no challenge?
That'll be a no from Everton.
From Everton this season.
For 25
Barkley,
years.
Kevin Morales.
For 25 years, more or less. But so we went down there. You know, we're all ready to go for the Mega Bowl. It's
didn't quite look like that, did it?
No. But the big question, which was on everyone's lips was. But it really wasn't a question, actually. I've built that up far too much. But
I was going to say, is Big Sam going to stay?
Luke Garber coming into the side, obviously Leighton Baines playing, you know, everyone was thinking, yeah, about time we got a chance, and this is finally his chance, and it's his chance, it's too late for his chance, and what chance? Where was the chance? He never got a chance. The surprise was Brendan Galloway got a start. Now, no issues with that. We've been talking for a while. In fact, people continually say, Roberto must be watching the show because every time we say something, it happened the week after. Start me. Thanks, Bob. But
that 5-0 derby win didn't happen, did it?
No. But he started, which was a massive shock. Left back as well, because he's not a left back as such. I have seen him play left back for the under-21s, but he's not a left back as such. He's a centre back. But I suppose at times when you've got a young centre back, you can take the pressure off them in games by playing them in a full back position. John Stones played right back. He's played right back this season, and sometimes you can take that pressure off. But still, a massive shock.
Big surprise, wasn't it? We thought obviously Garber to come straight in. Came on the week before. There's something going on. Something's not quite right, is it, at the moment? But you know, the flip side of that is young Galloway come in and done very well.
Roberto Martinez has actually come out and said, nothing to do with this contract. Honest, it's nothing to do with this contract. It's just we thought there was a chance to play Galloway, and we took it. And this is something we said about 3 or 4 games ago. What's the point in finishing the season when you already know you're safe by playing players who have had their day, let's say. But it was a shock to actually see another young player being replaced by an even younger player. But obviously there is the whole Garber thing, contract situation. We don't know what's going on. We can't really speculate because there's nothing to speculate about. He's got effectively, you know, a month or so left on his contract at Everton, and he privately seems like he's saying he wants to stay. The club are saying publicly they want to keep him. So what's going on? But we can't answer. All we'd be doing is speculating, and there's no point in doing that because that just starts silly rumours, which we're not in the habit of starting silly rumours unless they're about kits. But, you know, there's no point, is there? You know, so I don't know what's going to go on. It'd be a shame to lose a player who's of such potential. But that's football, isn't it?
I think we don't know what's going on. It comes down to Luke and to the club, doesn't it? Was that Roberto saying Saturday, you know, playing a little bit of a game with him, saying, well, you know, we've got this young kid here who, if you don't want to sign, we've got another one who can easily come in and do that job. We've obviously also got Brian Oviedo, who's obviously had another bad season in terms of injuries. So I don't know, was it Roberto showing his teeth a little bit and saying, you know, we've got other options. You know, if Luke doesn't want to put his, you know, pen to paper, we'll have to wait and see for the next 4 or 5 weeks. That we know that there's other clubs looking. He's been linked again with Bournemouth. He's been linked again with Liverpool this week. So the ball's in his court, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with it.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one, but it's a funny one really, because if you think about the whole Morales situation, ever since he sort of, well, I'd like to say he has cleared up his contract situation in a way by saying he was going to do it at the end of the season. But because there hasn't been sort of anything else definite, he's found his position at the club reduced as well. You know, he's just basically a sub now. And you know, if you think about that, if you went back 12 months and said, well, Kevin Morales for the best part of half of the season was going to be a sub because basically tactically being a sub, not you know, it's a strange situation, isn't it? And again, that just shows that, you know, Martinez is willing to do that.
Again, you wonder whether it's how much is it to do with the contract, how much is it to do with Kev not performing, how much is it to do with the fact that, you know, Aaron Lennon's come in and kind of taken that winger position up on that right hand side, although I know Kev spends a lot of the time, you know, his best work out on the left. Again, another interesting one. He hasn't really, for me, hit any kind of heights this season, Morales, you know, other than that, I'd say the first few weeks of the season. Then he got the hamstring injury at Liverpool. Came back, you know, some good performances, some poor ones. Since the turn of the year, I don't think he's given us a decent performance, and I'm struggling, and obviously, you know, you'd have to say on merit at the moment, does he deserve to start? Probably not.
It does show, though, I think, that when these things rear their heads, they have to be dealt with quickly. You know, this whole will leave it to the end of the season. I know I'm not saying that's what the Garbutt situation is, but the Morales situation, you know, he said, oh, I'll wait and see to the end of the season. As soon as he said that, for me, that was basically his Everton career on hold, because he just really hasn't done anything since. And again, as I say, it goes to show that things need to be done. I know contracts do take a while, and a lot of the time they get done without even a sniff of any of us knowing or the media knowing. You know, it's not a case as much as we wanted to just walk into a room and say, right, here's your terms, sign it or don't sign it. There's a lot of to and fro, obviously, like they probably would be in anything, especially when they're £1 million contracts as well. And I bet there's a lot of silly little things that players want put in them and stuff as well. You can imagine. You know, yeah, again, and sweeteners and all the rest of it. But it does go to show that as soon as a player basically says, we'll leave it to the end of the season, I just think that puts a massive shadow over him straight away. It's
difficult though, isn't it? Because it's difficult to apportion any kind of blame to either party in that situation, because obviously if the club want to keep him, and we're led to believe that they do, they put a contract that they think, you know, is decent enough on the table. The player wants to stay, or does he want to stay? You know, he's coming out saying he'll be an Everton player next season. Now he's got to be an Everton player next season basically. Is he about to sign a new contract? We don't know. So it's kind of at an impasse in terms of, if he's not prepared to sit down with the club until the summer, what can the club do other than give him a massive contract? Does he deserve a massive contract? No. I don't think he does. So again, you're right, it's a very, very strange one. I think the thing with contracts are they get out into the press, and once they get out into the press, and that's because of agents.
Well, I was going to say, do you think though, but when they do get into the press, that's when you know something's wrong? Because most players, I'm not even saying most players, but a lot of players, when they're happy with a club, it's done behind closed doors, and the first you hear of a new contract, I mean, look at a player like Leon Osman, you know, how many times it's just been like, it's done. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying Leon Osman's got, you know, he's not looking for massive wages or anything, but he's the kind of player who's happy at Everton and stuff, and it's just done. There's nothing. I just think personally that the minute you do get a sniff of it in the media or whatever, then there is an issue. And so,
well, I think that's right. I think the likes of, you know, we've seen John Stones, we've seen Seamus Coleman, seen Ross Barkley all commit to the club over the summer and into October with Stones or September, and they were just kind of hinted at they're about to sign the deal, and then he done the deal, didn't he? So I think you're right. I think we've had a situation with James McCarthy this year where everybody's been after him, and that's quite clearly come from his agent, who was feeding the press in terms of, you know, trying to force Everton's hand to give him a massive contract. So I think you're right. Once it starts making its way into the papers, we've seen it with the likes of Raheem Sterling this season and things like that. When agents aren't happy, they're quite happy to feed the media with it. And
do you think a club like Everton should be looking now to, when a player gets to, well, the summer, and then he's got 2 years left, do you think in that summer it should be a case of commit or leave for a club like Everton? Because if you're looking to get the most money you can for a player, if they're not happy, they've got to move on with a couple of years left. Because once you get to that year stage, you are sort of you're gonna lose a player on the cheap, obviously. Now Kevin Morelos, this in effect is his 2 year summer, because once a certain date gets passed in the summer, his contract can be rolled on by the club. So the club can easily just roll it on and say, well, he's got 2 years, but we're not selling you before this date. He's got 2 years left. That's an extra 5 million, let's say. So do you think for a club like Everton, you obviously need that cash, 2 years to go on your contract, you either get it sorted now or, sorry, we're selling you no matter what?
That's a tough one, because ideally we would be the one who were forcing the players' issue. You want to stay, great, here's a nice new contract. If you don't, we're going to sell you this summer. Does it always work like that? Do the club look and think, you know, we keep a player for another 12 months, he might get us into the top 4, 5, 6, whatever it may be, and then he may be encouraged by what he sees to stay, or we'll get a bigger fee for him. It's a game of Russian roulette almost, isn't it, in terms of letting the contract run down?
Do you think though that almost like when a player gets over 30, I mean, Moyes had this thing, once a player at 30, he was only getting a 1 year contract no matter what. Now that might be a little bit, even though it was only a few years ago, that might be even a little bit old fashioned now because of players, how fit they are when they get to 30. Do you think it almost has to be like a club decision, almost like when you put a cap on wages, that has to be a cap within the club, where the club has to turn around and say, well, this is the rule. You get to that 2 year, because that surely that's got to be good. That's good business sense, isn't it?
Well, it is good business sense, but then I don't know, because then it goes down the road. I mean, I've said it many a time now. Whenever I have a player, I just expect 2 years out of him just because of the way we run and because of the way the Premier League is, the animal that the Premier League is. I just expect that to be a 2 year, and then they're starting to look to move on. If the players kind of accepted that was happening, how committed would they be? You know, if they're signing 5 year contracts, fair enough, it means you're getting 3 years out of them. But if it's a 4 year deal, halfway through they're going to be thinking, well, the club are going to want me out now because, you know, I don't want to sign a new deal and they want the best price possible for me. It doesn't. I think idealistically, maybe that's kind of an unwritten rule that they have to adopt, because at the moment it's well documented, you know, that Everton's financial situation. We've got to start making sure that we get maximum value from players.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to the game.
Don't worry, this will be very quick.
Yeah, this will be very short, don't worry. I mean, obviously, apart from Galloway, it's a pretty familiar team than what we've seen recently. Obviously, Osman on the left and Rom up front, on Barkley in there, and obviously so forth and so on. It was pretty similar. And to be fair, I mean, yeah, we build it up and we've had a bit of a joke about it, saying, but at the end of the day, it started off pretty flip-floppish, didn't it? It was pretty. I'm trying to search for a word to describe how boring it was. But for a good hour, very little happened. I mean, we were all right in possession, but when it got into that final third, we just didn't really have any drive to do much with it. Rom had a decent chance first half, which he put over the bar, and we were nice and neat and tidy, but we didn't really go anywhere with it. And I thought that again, we were at our best when we played on the break. I thought when we sat deep and soaked it up, and then moved the ball and went through the gears, I thought we looked a lot better, and I think that's when Everton are at their best.
It was very testimonial. That's how it
Big
felt.
Sam's testimonial.
Well, that's how it felt to me. It was slow. It I think Everton started okay, quite quickly. The first 10 minutes, Ozzy had a shot, we had a Rom, had a swung at one and John Stones popped one wide, and then it kind of settled down and both teams had a little bit of a go. But I think you're right, I think the problem Everton have got, and we've had it many times this season, is the fact that we just sit so, when teams sit so deep with us, we almost don't know what to do with the ball. We're never quick enough, we never break quick enough, because teams have got 8, 9 players behind the ball. I think once teams come at us, we can then pick holes in them. Yeah. You know, and that's how it proved.
Yeah, to say for a good hour it was pretty dull, but then Downham popped up with a goal, and I've seen a few people having a go at Galloway for this, but I thought that was a little bit harsh. I thought Downham used all of his experience to get into that space. I mean, first of all, he sort of gave him a little bit of a run round. He pulled Downham out of position a little bit. Again, he reiterates he's not a left back, and it was his first game in the Premier League. I've seen far worse debuts for players, and you know, he got pulled out a little bit, got pulled out of his position a little bit. It was clever work by Downham. He found himself with a little pocket of space and put it in. It was a poor goal, but I mean, for people to put too much blame on Galloway, I mean, I just thought it was just a poor goal.
I think it was a poor goal, and you know, people didn't close down quick enough or get tight enough. He did go to sleep and let him run behind it. And you can't do it. You know, you might be able to get away with the 18s or the 21s, you know, in terms of someone mopping up or whatever. But like you say, Downing probably looked West Ham's most likely to do anything, to be fair to him. I thought he played quite well. And he has just ran off him, and you know, that's something that he can work on now, isn't it? He's going to get far more out of the fact that Downing ran off him and scored than he will as if we'd have won the game 3-0, he wouldn't have had anything to do. So it's about learning those mistakes. He's made a mistake in a game that we eventually win. He can go away and look at that and learn about making sure that you touch sight, making sure that the person you're marking, you know where they are at all times. And
he got better from then on, didn't he? Because, you know, he got down the left a few times, he was throwing in tackles.
I thought he had a very good game. Yeah, I thought he was solid, I thought he was competitive, I thought he was good in possession, a couple of good tackles in there, got his way, you know, his body in the way. I thought he'd done very, very well.
The good thing was we got back into the game straight away, pretty much, you know, 5 or 6 minutes later, we're back level, and we deserve to be level. And again, good work by Ron down the wing, throwing a cross in, and Leon Osman, like he's done so many times in his career. Fantastic first touch and a brilliant volley, and it's in the back of the net. And I think that might be the fifth time he scored against West Ham now in his career. They'll be sick of the sight of him. Not as sick as they will be about the other goal scorer, but a really good goal, and sort of turn the game back onto us. Because again, from then on, I thought we fancied it then, you know, we fancied the game from then on. I think to them it was sort of like that, it was really end of season stuff from them, where to us, we're the away team, you know, we want to do it for the fans over there, and we pushed on and went for it, and you know, we got our rewards.
It was a fantastic goal, good response to going behind, and Osman doing what he can do. The touch was fantastic, and what a lovely finish, you know, from the much maligned Leon Osman. But it was a great run. Lukaku done well, good ball in, and the touches, you know, someone else would have scored it. They'd have been going on about it. You know, Javi, Stevie G would have scored it. Oh, Messi would have scored it. Ronaldo, they'd have gone on about it all weekend. But no, it was a fantastic first touch and great feat. And I think one thing stuck out for me Saturday about the formation, just watching it, and you know, we had Matt on last week, and he was talking about giving Ross this role just off Rom, and that's how he'll grow and all that. Absolute pants again. Matt, sorry lad, awful. Barkley.
Well, there's him not coming back.
Well, no, he will come back, because I want to say when he sat next to me. But no, in all seriousness, I just think for me, I think Ross needs taken out. What I'd like to have seen was Osman playing off Lukaku, because for the simple reason that the amount of times Ross gets in those killer areas and he hasn't got a clue what to do. He turns, how many times Saturday did he do a 360 with the ball and turn away? When Leon's in those areas, he's looking for the pass and he gets on the end and scores. We kick off from the goal, break, ball comes into Ross, he's on his own, one touch, and it's about 40 yards wide. And
he does have a talent, Ross Barkley, for hitting Rowe's head.
He hits it as hard as anyone I've seen.
It's ridiculous how many times.
But I'm not saying he's not going to get that.
No,
but what I'm saying is, for me, sometimes as a footballer, you get those seasons where literally you just want to go like that and toss it away because it's that bad. It's nothing's coming off for him at the moment, and I think he could do. We've got a game left, and he's probably going to play again on Sunday against Spurs. But I personally would like to see Osman. If we're not going to play with two strikers, I'd like to see Osman just off Lukaku and someone naturally filling that left-hand side for us.
I like it the way it is at the moment.
Well, that's good for you.
With one game left.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Next season.
What I'm saying to you is that it's about finding solutions. Ross has been in there for months.
Well, what does it mean then? What does it mean then if he's looking for a new number 10? Does that mean that he's now decided, Roberto Marin's decided that Ross Barkley is more...
You said last week, and you said a few times on the show about maybe dropping Ross back into that and making it a 2, right? Perfect opportunity Sunday to play Barkley with McCarthy. Say to Gareth Barry, come and sit off for your substitute. No. Hey, look, Gareth Barry done okay Saturday, apart from he got his normal booking. You know, he definitely doesn't want to start July the 2nd, does he? But give Barkley an opportunity in that role with McCarthy. Play Osman in front of them. Get someone else on the left.
That's what I'm saying, long term.
Maybe even Gareth Barry on the left-hand side for that.
Don't go mad. Don't go mad.
Shape.
Do you think long term then he's seen Ross as a box-to-box midfielder who's not got that eye at the moment for that killer pass, hasn't got that eye for the... I don't know, almost the simple thing, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what I think he's doing? I think he's looking for solutions, like I just said. I think he's looking and saying, right, we've tried Ross in there, and on his day, Barkley can be devastating. In there last season, that game against Newcastle, he had 45 minutes with him and Lukaku. They were unplayable. It could have been 6 or 7. They were world class. You know, at times the movements and the linking up. And Ross done that numerous times last season. I remember saying to you, we're not the same team when he's not in the, when he's not in the side, because he's the only one who can drive from one box to the other with the ball. For whatever reason this year, it's not happened. He's been shoved wide, right and left. He's been almost up front. He's been played further back. I just think at the moment he's a little bit lost as to where he needs to play. And I just think by playing Osman off Lukaku, you're looking at a player, or you're looking for a different type of player to see how he will fit in within our formation other than Ross Barkley, to see whether Rom can, it works better for Rom. Because for me personally on Saturday, Lukaku was terrible. His touch was out.
No, I'm just laughing. Go on,
his touch was atrocious. He doesn't keep the ball for us. He's isolated far too often, and I don't think he's good enough to be isolated. But he's shown that if you give him chances, he'll take them, and that's what he done with the goal.
That's what he done.
But I think if you put someone up there, get someone up with him, helping him out, he'll be fantastic.
The argument, isn't it? Number 10, that's what he's saying he wants.
But a number 10 that's up there.
But that's what I'm saying, a proper number 10, and I've said it loads of times, I want an elite out, I don't care what anyone says.
You just like him because he gave Ibbott the run around last year.
He's a good player in our price range, and I think he would. I also think he can play on that left hand side.
What about Delafeu?
He's not number 10. Don't start rumours.
No, I'm saying players who, if you look around Europe, I know what you're saying. We need someone who can just thread the ball, who can take it into feet nice and comfortable and play. Can Jerry do that? Probably not. He's more about pace and power. But when you're looking for those players in and around Lukaku, that's what you need. You need to give him. Kone went up with him for a couple of games, and Rom looked a different player to me. He looked a player who was a threat. He looked to be running in behind people. His head was up. He was switching. He looked alive. Yeah. Without him.
Funny enough, before we came out, I was watching. It was one of those football goal things on Sky. You know, like them little fillers they have. For like, and it was
like when they had on last night when the MLS went off for a bit.
And it was West Brom 5, Manchester United 5. When he come off the bench, and he looked a beast.
Like a monster.
He looked a beast. Physically, he looked bigger. Just hair.
It's the Barnett, isn't it?
No, he looked physically bigger.
Get the Barnett back.
He looked physically bigger and all. And as you say, he had players around him, and he was a threat. One of his, I think it was his hat-trick goal. Actually, was very reminiscent of the goal on Saturday. You know, getting in there and a chance. I think he's the type of player, if you do get players around him, and we've said this loads of times, when he plays with one up there and one just off him, not a midfielder, like someone really off him. He's so much more of a threat. He opened the space, like you said with Kone there. He opens the space. Kone mightn't do nothing all game,
but he's got to occupy someone.
He's occupying, and you've seen that for the winner on, McGee.
Put Morales on. He definitely watches the show because he put Morales on where I said to.
The much maligned McGee comes on, stands one up, and Lukaku took advantage of a young centre-back, and gets in the space and puts it in there. And this is the thing about Lukaku, and this is almost it's almost like two arguments at times. I mean, I said on Twitter the other day to you about, to me, it's almost like, it reminds me of Gary Lineker almost. When he's in the box, you give him a chance, he puts it in. Now, I just think that's the same. I think
Got nothing to say.
Then when Lukaku's in the box and he's got a chance.
Steve, I've got nothing to say.
I'm just going to keep
comparing McGeady to Messi.
I'm just going to keep talking. When he's in there and he's got a chance, he hits the target more times than not. But when he's outside the box, you just think.
I think what I tried to say to you the other day with Lineker was he kept people occupied all the time.
Difference is.
He go long.
Difference is. Lineker was 26, 27 for Everton. That's the difference.
Yeah, but he was keeping defenders occupied at 20, 21.
Only because you were old enough to know what you was.
Hey, listen, I'm not here to slag Rom. I'm saying for us to get the best out of him. I personally believe we've got to find a way that he gets either two centre forwards in the team, or he gets people
He
round
wants a number 10, no, doesn't? That's clear what he wants. Now he wants a proper number 10.
Well, a number 10 that has got to play almost as a striker. He's got to play as a split striker, the old-fashioned just off him. Maybe, but can Elito receive it back to goal and keep it for you? Because Rom can't, and that's what when you're playing against good sides away from home, people come back with the Europa League. Oh, amazing on the break in the Europa League.
That's why I like.
Did we really play anyone
that's
fantastic?
Why I thought but that's why I think we're a better side on the break, because Rom gets it going that way, and he doesn't.
Of course.
Holding it up.
And that's what I was saying before with Kone. If he's got someone with him, Kone would come short, and he was in round the back, and that was why he was so threatening. And I think if you put people round him like we did near the end, if you noticed that first 70 minutes, he was there. Barkley was 10 yards further back. He was on his own. He was isolated. Touch wasn't good enough. He was falling over. The ball was sticking between his feet because he didn't have any options. He had 2 or 3 round him. Near the end, when we were kind of going at them, he had bodies all the way around him. He had Morales around him in it. Ozzy was buzzing around him. McGeady was, started putting crosses in. James McCarthy was trying to get in there. And when other people were occupied, that's when he spun off to the back. I mean, to be honest with you, before he scored, he should have scored 3 times. He misses a header at the back stick that stood up. Again, I think it was McGeady. He just stands it up for him to win it for us. He heads it wide. He miskicks one in the box. Another one gets blocked. And that was because we put bodies around him.
There you go. So we're keeping McGeady in or what?
Again, another thing on Saturday, people want to... Yeah, but look, it takes many... If someone comes in for him, for a few quid, fair enough, move him on. But as an option, well, it might be Celtic, but all this, the swapping Van Dijk for McGeady.
I just don't think a 29-year-old wants to be sitting on the bench at this stage. Maybe. And I just don't think he's...
But I'm saying if he's here, then that's the best way to use him.
I just don't think he's good enough for the first time. I don't think a 29-year-old...
No, I think he's a sub. And I think for me, if he just dropped the shoulder and put the ball in instead of trying to do 48 lollipops and spins and helicopters and everything else he tries to do, he'd be a lot more.
Well, obviously, so let's come to the final point of this game, the fair play thing. We got beat 4-1 on yellow cards. It wasn't really that good, was it? But they certainly didn't go out like, we're going to take this soft. But it was just funny that the West Ham fans were singing, cheering and singing, and they were singing all kinds of...
Haven't they said they don't even want to be in it?
They did at first, but then they decided
they're taking it.
They wanted it now.
Good luck to them. See them on July the 2nd.
So, a 2-1 win. Happy days. It didn't look like it was going to be much, but it was West Ham. Ozzy was playing. Lukaku was playing, so therefore they were going to score. And we've done the, even though they knocked us out in the cup and wore that special commemorative "we beat Everton in the cup" FA Cup shirt, we've done the double over them in the league. So
both same scorers. Goodison.
A nice way to wrap up the away fixtures, even though they've been quite poor this season.
What was important was to get back to winning ways after the Villa and the Sunderland defeat, wasn't it? And that's what they've done, and it gives you a little bit of a boost coming into the final home game against Spurs, who have well and truly got the flip-flops on, so a chance to sign off with...
Top 10, come on.
Chance to sign off with 50 points.
Days.
All good.
This is Bob Latchford, and you're watching Toffee TV.
So, every week we ask the question, hashtag Toffee tweet on Twitter at ToffeeTV1. Don't forget, follow us on Twitter. Make sure you're following us. We ask a question every week, and this week's question, it's a mixed one, this, because, you know, I was interested to see what kind of reaction we'd get. There's been a little bit of talk about this gentleman in the news recently, and, you know, things that haven't gone so well for him in the last few months, and it is about...
Nick Clegg?
I don't know what club you're talking about. It is about Sylvain Distin. It is regarding... Basically, obviously our final game on Sunday against Spurs, and this time obviously out of contract, he will leave the club. And so basically the question was, does he deserve any kind of send-off, you know, from the club? Does he deserve 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour to even start the game?
Whoa. Whoa there.
Whoa, steady on there, sailor. So, I mean, you know, he's been at the club since 2009. You know, he was bought with the Lescott money, was the Lescott replacement. For that first season, he was a little bit dodgy, he was a little bit all over the place, you always had that mistake in him. But he settled down and for the most part, got a good partnership with Phil Jagielka and pretty steady. He was always the pace in that back forward as well. Well, you know, even if he made a mistake a lot of the times, he got himself out of trouble just with his sheer pace. So, I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think he does it? Number one, I'll rephrase, does he deserve it or is it just shouldn't even be thought about regardless of whether he deserves it?
It's a tough one, because I like Distin. I think he's done very well. I think it's the right time for him to leave. I don't think there's any question about that. I don't think he'd dispute that. But I think he's been very good for Everton. He's been very, very good. I thought he was outstanding last season, to be fair, to take on a new way of playing at whatever age he was, 35 or whatever, and do really, really well. He played in a team that got the most points it's ever got in the Premier League. Done fantastic. This season didn't go so well for him. In terms of giving him a send-off, I don't know. I mean, last 2 minutes, put him on, let him get a clap. I mean, is that a bit disrespectful to him to say, go on for 2 minutes?
Do you think Roberto Martinez should have just let him go in end of January?
Yeah, I think I know we tried to get him as part of the Winston Reid. You know, we tried to get Winston Reid for Distin and a packet of crisps or something else that we threw in. But yeah, if he wasn't going to use him, again, he's trying to protect Everton by making sure he's there. But he's never even been on the bench. You know, since, and Alcaraz, you know, for whatever reason, has been on the bench. So to keep him and then not use him is a little bit mad. And we know that Distin's come out and said, he told me I was part of his plans, or he said in a press conference I was part of his plans, and then not to use me.
Well, basically what he's done is he hasn't let him go because he wanted to cover his own back, really, isn't it? You know, he wanted those 4 centre-backs, and so that's why he's kept them.
That's what he's entitled to do.
But the chance hasn't arisen to use him, so why should he use him? And people will go, well, he's better than Alcaraz, but, you know, Alcaraz was his player, and I think this season what we've seen is Distin just go, and we say it all the time. We've seen it so many players, they just go, and I think with him maybe losing a little bit of pace or just that little bit of whatever, he wasn't comfortable early on playing the possession game at the back, where he might have been a little bit more comfortable last season. He hasn't been comfortable this season. Coincided with the fact that we were playing absolutely rubbish as well. So those things collided, and I don't know.
And he let it be known.
Yeah, maybe
that's the problem.
Maybe he said his piece, but I go back to the Eto'o thing and think, well, you know, we let Eto'o go, and maybe he should have just let Distin go as well, regardless of the situation. Maybe, you know, he has got kids there, emergency, Barry in emergency.
Ty Browning,
you know,
has played a couple of times and can play centre half. So, yeah, I mean, with hindsight, he probably should have let him go. Yeah.
Well, don't forget, we asked you on Twitter, as we said, #Toffee tweet some of your reactions. Jay Wilson says, no, I've got respect for him, but he's been a fantastic servant for us, but I want us to win every game possible. That's a bit harsh, isn't it? Ryan Cochran says, for his service and commitment, yes, but he's had a truly shocking year. Robbie Kirkham has said, yes, he's been a good player, just stayed a season too many, still better than Alcaraz. DJ Weave Esquire says, Roberto Martinez has handled this poorly and Distin has been a good servant, but I'm still against giving him a game. No room for sentiment. Lee Brooks has said, not the biggest fan either, but if something has gone on until until we know the full story, the manager is bigger than the player. But again, though, you just think, well, why didn't you get rid of him?
Who knows?
Everton Canada says no room for sentiment in the modern game. Miss Blue Nose 87 says, I don't get the milk jokes. Now, that's for another day. Sean Cartwright says...
Look on the internet.
Sean Cartwright says, can't finish any higher, so give him a place. An hour run out, then bring a young lad on. Do you agree with that, or do you just play a young lad in the first place? I mean, that's the question, isn't it? Why would you start? Why look back when there are kids that need...
I think if you were gonna kind of use that way round, Distin and a young player, I think you're right, you'd start with the young lad, because obviously he's the future, and then give Distin, I don't know, 10 minutes from the end or something.
Jeff Ormstead says, he's been a bad lad, but thank you, Sylvain, for the and all the best in the future. I don't know what he's talking about. Paulie POW said, yes, the People's Club, the players are people too. I don't think we are the People's Club anymore. I think someone else has robbed that hashtag, so I think that's gone. Brooksy has said, no, never thought he was as good as people thought, and if Martinez doesn't want him around, we should support that decision. Casey Dorgan has said, definitely it's been a disgraceful way that he's been treated. Fantastic signing, fantastic servant, treated like a word beginning with S in the final year. Any thoughts on that?
Again, you know, he said publicly that he's going to come out. He might come on Toffee TV and give his side of the story.
Don't say like that, we've asked him, we haven't.
We will ask him, but we haven't got any money, so we probably won't. Got loads of milk if David let us. Don't know.
Richie Parker said, yes, he does. He does. He has been a good player for us and deserves a good send-off. I'm trying to get to ones that just don't say yes or no on them. G Thorn 84 said, without doubt he's been a fantastic professional and servant for the club. I think he has been a fantastic professional. Yeah. That's one thing you can say about Distin, and a good professional. A little bit mad at times with his Twitter rants and also trying to front people in the Garden Street, but has always basically fought his corner, which is an interesting thing. An interesting thing for players nowadays. They don't necessarily do that.
I think he's a man with strong principles, a man with strong opinions, and if you call him out, on Twitter, then be man enough to front him up if he comes looking for you. Don't call him out and run.
We've seen that recently as well. Chris Donahue has said, yes, great servant, professional, filled the hole, Lescott left, and a boss milkman. Bauer 316 has said, in many ways, I hope we find out. Never was the Everton way to do the dirty stuff in public, unlike a few others. As I say, there's a lot of ifs and buts and maybes. We don't know what's gone on, so we can't really speculate. JTS Gaming has said, I think Martinez has done well because something went on behind the scenes, and I don't think Martinez would just drop a player. Again, we don't know what's going on. This is the thing. It could just be purely footballing terms. I mean, I think he should have been dropped after the first game.
Where was this milk round?
I'm not sure.
It wasn't up by Wigan, maybe, was it?
Maybe it's off.
Maybe he was delivered on like.
Just stop. Just stop.
Full fat milk
just
instead
stop.
of semi-skimmed
or
whatever.
No.
That's just for the girl who didn't know what the score was.
No, I'm gonna edit that out before the lawyers get in touch. Manny_EFC says, nope. Why would he? He's just a centre back who is way past it. Colin McNamee says, deserves a walk around Goodison, but his performance this season meant he shouldn't get a run out. Again, even if he doesn't play, will he even be there to just sort of get any kind of sort of farewell? Because I think he does deserve that at least.
Oh, without a shadow, he deserves it. Yeah, I think he'll be there. Final game, it's his final thing. It's a chance to say goodbye, isn't it, I suppose? So I'd expect him to be on the pitch at the... You looking at it? On the end. That wasn't on our tweets.
Milk rounds?
Vacancies.
There was one round by ours, but it's gone now. I'm just looking for more tweets.
Really?
EFC Coiney said, of course he does. It's been a little bit strange. Potential to cause unrest in the squad. I'd love to know what's being said. Again, we don't know. Lee Ledbetter said, well, I wouldn't play him personally, We want to cement 10th. We want to cement 10th. Please get a grip of yourself. He should be there for the lap of honour though. George Farah said, people shouldn't forget the 5 very good seasons he's had before this one.
That's right. I would say that's right.
Matt Dinosaur Blue said, yes, we'd be better than to let the player leave unheralded. Yeah, and again, that's what we're saying, but I don't think he definitely needs to come on the pitch for that. I think that the whole thing would be a little bit strange if Martinez hasn't played them. For the
to be honest with you, I don't think he'll even be part of the squad at the weekend. You think he'd be there in the owl whistle, walking around the pitch at the end, but I don't think...
Maybe they were like, he loves wearing like knee-high socks all the time, just generally, not even on a footy pitch.
Just like on a Sunday?
Yeah.
Shorts and them socks on.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not going to tell him what he looks like. Fantastic.
Bracefeld's Boot says, of course he does. Distin has been a rock for us and had a great career. Reason I'll stay behind on Sunday. It's a controversial one. The only reason? Fair enough. Scott McAllister said, he has been more important player to us than Tony Hibbert ever was. That's for sure. Maybe not. That's for a question for another day, I think.
Hippo.
Kay Conver said, no, Distin's poor in his first season and finished in his last. We replaced Escott with a quarter of the price for a quarter of the player. Yeah, I think Distin, I think
goals-wise,
I think Lescott was a better player, but I don't think... Yeah, the goals were never replaced, that's one thing. Mark Palfruman, I said, yes, whatever's gone on doesn't distract from Distin being immense for us.
He was very, very good. He can't rewrite history. He's been really good. Obviously, the Suarez mistake and things like that didn't help him. But, you know, he was a very, very good defender for us.
Mike Murphy said there should be a Phoenix from the Flames reenactment of the semi. Only this time he empties out. Yeah, that's semi. We all know what that's semi. Roberto Martinez can be Suarez. Robbie Kirkham says guard of honour.
Guard of honour. We love them in this part of the world.
And Owen Quirk says, I would rather give one of the youth a chance, i.e. Browning alongside Stones, as that could be a future partnership.
And Galloway and Stones.
I just think it'll be Jags and Stones.
It'll be Jags and Stones and it'll be Bainesville. Jags, Stones. That'll be it.
Yeah.
There'll be no changes. Unless Oro gets a game.
I think personally that Roberto Martinez will play a pretty similar team to they played at West Ham. He has basically said there wasn't any sort of room for any kind of, not sentiment, but even playing young players. He said that pretty much all the way through. So I think it's going to be what it is. It's going to be the best team possible. It'll just be interesting to see who plays at left back, I suppose, in this game.
Who knows?
That's for another day.
Could just bring someone else in from nowhere. Hibbert. Tony Hibbo back at left back.
Tony Hibbo, Pienaar, Distin.
Pienaar, remember him?
And Distin playing.
Distin will play.
Alec Cleland.
Klaus
Thompson. Mark Hottiger at right back.
Farrelly. Mitch Ward. They're all coming back.
The Strack. And Mick Madar up front.
I was going to say
Come
Madar.
on!
And John Spencer on the bench.
He's too busy doing the MLS commentary.
I know, but only from
very well as well.
He's good. He's quite good. He's quite good at
there
that.
You go.
He couldn't score.
We've gone off on a complete tangent. Thanks for your tweets. Toffee TV1, hashtag Toffee tweets. I don't think Distin's going to have any part, apart from maybe while everyone's playing, he'll be scratching everyone's cars. But we'll leave that there. Moving on, Tottenham. I haven't got really much to say about this game. Tottenham, obviously Lennon can't play, so who replaces Lennon?
Morales,
dead easy. There we go. We've solved it.
Probably be McGeady.
Oh no, don't say that. He's awful.
Hey, come on, set the winner up.
I think Morales.
It's a phenomenal ball.
I think Morales will play. We just want 3 points from this, don't we? Or finish the game on a bit of a high. Top 10. Are you really too bothered? It is. I suppose it's nice to finish. I suppose this side of the page,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, if we get that page 1 or 2 on teletext, yeah, if we got there, we'd be...
CFAX.
We'd be all right. Although when we were on like the second page, it was like we'd won the league. It was good seeing our name at the top of it.
The strange one, aren't they, Spurs? I mean, you know, they're a good side. They've got loads of good players, but when it really matters, they just fall to bits. Pretty
They
much.
love spending money, don't they?
They
They've got
love
some good
spending-
players.
Yeah, I'd say you do. I've got a I really like who I think probably should have been in the Premier League team of the year is Eriksen. I think he's
Eriksen's
fantastic.
fantastic.
How the other clowns move the road ball his way, and I'll never know when you've got Eriksen doing that week in and week out pretty much. Especially the early part of the season, I thought he was fantastic. He does it for 10 minutes during the vote rounds and he gets in.
Eriksen's fantastic. I mean, I look at Spurs and I don't think, this year obviously it sounds a bit cheaper, but I don't think there's much difference between them and us when we're both on form. They are strange, they just seem to go through bucket loads of money and don't kind of progress. But I suppose it's going to be like that now, isn't it? It's not just Tottenham. Liverpool find that.
What I always find out weird about Spurs is it doesn't matter who the manager is, it doesn't matter who runs them or who's playing for them, they still have the same problems. They're dead soft-centred and they throw loads of money at stuff and they buy these players and it just never seems to come off. Like literally for like 30 years that's been happening.
They always buy like the same type of play. I don't know whether they just buy into this ethos of beautiful football and so they buy all tippy-tappy footballers. Maybe they need someone like David Moyes who would give them a spine and then dot a few of the players around them. Maybe they'd achieve it that way. But I think the problem with football now is that the top four are in danger of just cementing those top four places, and therefore
that's the
Spurs, Liverpool, Southampton, Everton, Swansea, all become much of a muchness after that, because that's how it is. You can't have the anomaly like we had last year with Liverpool and like when we done it in 2005. But I think for me, there's a real danger from now that top four are going to be almost untouchable.
Cemented, as far as I'm concerned. Which, do you know what? It's weird in a way, but maybe that unrealistic hope that we've had for maybe 10 years of getting that top four and only getting it once might mean now that we start thinking about concentrating on other things and maybe thinking other things are our priority rather than reaching that top four. If it becomes something that is...
You're going to say the Carling Cup, which we've never...
I'm going to say any cup. No, I'm going to say any cup. But you always start with that because that's the first one. But what I'm saying is, listen, we know, mine and your dream is that they all just go. They all these go to their own European Super League. That's our dream.
The dream.
Hashtag
the dream.
If you can't win anything, you just hope that everyone else gets off. That's basically what the dream is now.
Because I think all it will do, it will bring the league back to a little bit more level. Say we took the top four this year and bounced them out to the European Super League with everything else, and then you had Liverpool, Spurs, Southampton. We would find it much more achievable to challenge Liverpool.
That's more realistic than us ever winning the league.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if they went, Liverpool, even though they've got money, I would be more confident that we could then build this side that could work its way up and possibly
in effect, it would be,
that.
and in effect, if that did happen, there'd be less money in the Premier League because it wouldn't be the biggest show in town. And we might get them back down to some more competitive levels. The mad thing today, I mean, there's talk coming out that UEFA are going to relax FFP rules, which actually would actually benefit a club like Everton if someone came in and bought them. Because what it would basically mean was that we could go, if we got a billionaire owner, they wouldn't have to worry about justifying spending. They could just go, here's a bucket full of cash, go and throw it on that player over there in happy days. Whereas at the moment, if we got a big mad owner, he couldn't do that. He couldn't do that. He could go and buy, this player, that player, but he'd have to justify that spending. But what it does mean is that those big clubs can just
do what they want.
Can just run away. I mean,
look, it benefits them both ways. Whether if it stays, it benefits them because they've got the money, they've got the squads in place, they've got the big ground, so they're just going to get bigger. It benefits them if it opens it up because it means they can still continue to spend. Because that's the thing, isn't it? You look at a team like Spurs, they have got a billionaire owner, but they're obviously trying to do it a different way. They're going to try and build this ground and do it like a little bit like Arsenal have done. They've got the backup money if they need it to build the ground and stuff, but then they want to make it so they are self-funding, especially if this, I say we don't know what the FFP is going to be, but that's the thing, isn't it? If all these super teams just went away, they'd have a chance, we'd have a chance, and we'd make it more attainable. Put us all more on a level footing, wouldn't it? And make it a little bit more
building sides again. And I think I've seen this week is Paris Saint-Germain. They've just gone and won the third league title in a row. They'll do that every year, and at some point, a club like that are going to go, we're sound in France. But we can win that every year. But we can't attract, you know, a Neymar, or we can't attract a Suarez because we're playing in the French league. So what's going to happen there is they're never going to get past the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So at some point, one of their big heads is just going to go, we need to sort this out. And another team will come in as well, you know, like a Benfica will go, we're in the same boat, we're winning our league every year without a problem. We need to go somewhere else and start doing something. And then you'll get someone like Celtic who will go, well, we've got the support. You know, we've got the support. We just need it back, and if we get it back and we go in this Super League, then we'd have the biggest club in the world potentially, and we'd have the money to back it up. And I hope it goes that way. And we've gone completely off subject because we've got nothing to talk about with Spurs. But I think that's an interesting thing. Get it sorted, because honestly, as sad as this sounds, I've just got no hope of Everton ever winning a league title again in my lifetime. And the top four, I think we're getting back to that closed little loop again. You know, the last 2 years it's been a little bit.
There's been opportunities.
We haven't took it. And the worst thing is, we finished with 72 points last season, and Manchester United can only get 72 points this season. I know they've got a massive goal difference, which is bigger than us, but the point stands. It's
typical Everton.
Typical Everton.
We'd have beat Man City if we could have got in the top.
2 world wars. It's never us.
Champions.
Never us, is it? Never us. Although we could claim that we were the champions for the whole of those wars.
All of those wars.
And they would basically make us the greatest team
ever lived.
There you go. We've
also had the most unique thing happen all season as well. When someone just put #stones on the wall outside. Where's that happened anywhere else? See, no other club
has Twitter graffiti. It just doesn't happen. Another first. Go and put that on that thing down there. Another first.
All the firsts.
Nets in the goal.
Twitter graffiti. The way to
go. Twitter graffiti. It only happens here first at a club like Everton.
Forget your trophies.
Forget your 5 times and all that.
Yeah.
Nonsense. Who remembers that in the long run? It's about Twitter graffiti. Telling you.
Once again.
Happy days. Right. It is the last game of the season. I don't even want to have a show next week because Baz is on holiday. Sunning it up. That's it.
The week after. End the season. Show with extravaganza.
We'll have it the week after. We'll get all boss guests in.
We won't.
Who'll say we can't come, and then we'll get other guests in instead.
Yeah. And if not, we'll just interview Steve. That'll be amazing. And we might ask the Duranda to do some as well. Get anyone on.
Yeah. Happy days. So here's to 3 points, finishing the season well, and
50 points. Let's go.
Come on with your 50 points. And by then we'll have a new kit to look at as well.
New kit.
Teaser the teaser. NSNO. Born. #BornEFC. What does that mean?
It's amazing.
We put a random one up yesterday on a Twitter account.
We did say it.
We did say it wasn't real.
It's a rumour.
Clickbait. So
wait, look. Anyway, you're rambling now. Subscribe, follow Toffee TV.
Make sure you put your comments. I don't know how to do this properly. Put your comments down below. Make sure you join the conversation we've been talking about. Get involved. It is youtube.com/ESC1. Twitter @ToffeeTV1. Don't forget to subscribe. Somewhere up there in that corner. I don't know, I might put it in this corner. Like throwing it round. Things down here. There'll be things down here.
You know what we didn't talk about?
What?
Stevie G.
On that note, see you later.